Welcome to Mr. Boogeyman, where every story arguments and crippling anxiety, this house represented his chance at a fresh start. Yet despite the quaint charm of the property and the peaceful surroundings, an unsettling feeling gnawed at him. He scratched at his arm, trying to shake off the sensation that something was amiss.
It's just nerves,
he told himself, attributing it to the stress of moving. As days blurred into each other, the uneventful routine of unpacking replaced any remnants of his chaotic past. Still, when night fell, a nagging thought lingered in the back of his mind, a feeling of being watched. Alex dismissed it, chalking it up to his imagination running wild after years of feeling exposed and vulnerable.
It's just the quiet,
he muttered, trying to convince himself, but the chill creeping down his spine suggested otherwise. The weather took a turn for the worse that evening, with ominous clouds darkening the sky. A severe storm was forecasted, but Alex, resigned to a quiet night in, felt no fear. He prepared for an evening of escapism with his favorite movie and a spread of comfort food, the anticipation of warmth and distraction leaving him momentarily at ease. As he flipped through the channels, the winds outside began to howl, rattling branches against the window like skeletal fingers grasping for a hold. Just as the opening credits rolled, the storm struck with a vengeance. Alex's heart raced as the sound beyond the threshold of his fragile sanctuary. The lines between fear and reality blurred as he prepared to confront whatever, or whoever, was lurking in the shadows. As thunder boomed overhead, reverberating through the walls of Alex's secluded home, the stillness of the night was punctuated by the howl of the wind. He moved cautiously through the darkened house, each creak of the floorboards echoing louder in the oppressive silence. The power outage turned his once familiar surroundings into an unrecognizable maze. Shadows danced along the walls, morphing into grotesque shapes that heightened his unease. Suddenly, he spotted something out of place. A chair turned slightly to the left, a picture frame askew. Had he really been that careless during his unpacking, or was something more sinister at play? He dismissed the notion as paranoia, but the feeling of being watched prickled at the back of his neck. Then in a flash of brilliant white light, a silhouette flickered in the hallway. Heart racing, Alex squinted into the dark. The figure stood frozen, its shadow stretching menacingly across the floor. Lightning illuminated the intruder's sharp features for just a moment. Someone dressed entirely in black, with icy composure that sent a jolt of fear through Alex's veins. Instead of lunging at him, the man merely observed, a small, unsettling smile creeping across his lips.
"You shouldn't have sought solitude, Alex."
The intruder's voice was smooth yet laced with an eerie calm.
"You have no idea what you're inviting into your life."
Every instinct told Alex to flee, but he remained paralyzed, caught in a strange mix of fear and defiance. The man stepped closer, his presence suffocating, creating a palpable tension that made breathing feel laborious. The room darkened again as the lightning faded, but Alex could still feel those penetrating eyes watching him, dissecting him, just waiting for him to make a mistake. Moments turned into agonizing minutes as the intruder began to toy with him. He moved silently through the house, leaving behind mere whispers that seemed to seep through the walls themselves.
"You were always alone, weren't you? Even in a crowded room?"
The intruder taunted. Strange reflections appeared on mirrors, words like fear, night. He lunged forward with unexpected ferocity, using the element of surprise to his advantage. The intruder barely had time to register the shift before Alex struck, adrenaline coursing through his veins like wildfire. The two men collided in a whirlwind of limbs and desperation, each grappling for dominance in a fight that felt both surreal and life-altering. Every punch thrown was fueled by the pent-up fear and desperation of the past hours. In the midst of their struggle, Alex seized the intruder's shirt, yanking him off balance and sending them both crashing against the furniture. The crunch of breaking glass echoed in the darkened room, mingling with the sounds of the dying storm outside. Here, within these walls, fear morphed into rage, and Alex used every ounce of willpower to fight back against the suffocating dread that had haunted him all night. With a swift movement, he managed to stun the intruder momentarily, and in that split second, Alex's instincts took over. Determination pushed Alex forward. He burst through the front door, throwing himself into the tempest that now felt refreshing rather than oppressive. Dodging raindrops as thick as fists, Alex sprinted into the obscured night, the chill of the storm clashing with the fire in his veins. Behind him, the house loomed like a monstrous sentinel, a symbol of his entrapment and his will to survive. The wind howled, drowning out his thoughts, but the feeling of freedom surged within him. As he stumbled away from the facade of solace that had turned to nightmare, every step felt like a reclaiming of his lost self. The memory of those cold, calculating eyes, and the intricate horrors they contained, gripped him as tightly as the storm's cold fingers. Even as he fled, he knew that the battle was not purely physical. His psyche had been etched with the trauma of that night, a permanent reminder of the darkness that lurked within and without. As dawn broke over the horizon, its first light creeping cautiously through the fading rain, Alex leaned against a tree, chest heaving. He was battered, bruised, and forever changed. The storm had passed, but its lingering echoes remained, a testament to the night he stood against his own fears and emerged alive. Yet as he looked back at the house, the scars of the night's torment felt palpable. They whispered of unfinished business, leaving an unsettling ache in the pit of his stomach. The battle had been won, but the war within him was far from over.